We have all of our speakers here and members of the media, so I will pass it along to Mayor Keller to be our MC for the event.
All right, thanks. All right, well, welcome on a chilly afternoon to our Montano Transit Center. And I want to talk about a couple of things before we dive in. First, let me adjust that a little bit. Okay, I think that's better. So the first thing is that we want to make sure, number one, timing. There have been a lot of events this week that we're announcing or that we're rolling out. I just want to be clear. I understand there's an election. I understand editors may want to edit me out and all of that, and that's fine. But here's what I want you all to also understand. The things that we're announcing all this week, especially this, have been in the works for years. It just happens that we are pushed into a runoff. So just letting you know why we are here. We're here because we've been studying this for a long time, and the goal was to roll it out for the next year, which means we have to announce it in December, and so that's why we're here. Second thing is, we would expect that you may have questions about crime on the buses after the city council meeting. That is totally fine. We can take those certainly after, and our transit director is prepared for that. We also want to be really clear that while we have had safety challenges on the buses, we are making progress statistically. That, again, like crime in our city, it may not feel safer on every bus, but we know that it is getting safer. And Leslie Keener can talk to that in the end. So with that preface, let's talk about why we actually are here. We are here to announce the first redesign of our bus system in almost 30 years. That is a big deal. Our bus route schedule, where buses go, how often they go, has been out of date for almost 3 decades. And not only has our city changed in 3 decades, but so has transit patterns. So I think it's obvious it was time for a refresh. And we've been working on this for multiple years, and we've had dozens and dozens of community meetings, and it's equity informed, and our transit advisory board has been part of this, as well as a bunch of different community groups, whether it's Bike ABQ or whether it's Together for Brothers, and just dozens of folks who've had input in this. So this is truly a plan for Albuquerque that came from Albuquerque. All our transit department did was essentially facilitate this process and make sure that we actually get to the end, which is a new route plan going forward. So what this plan is going to do, it's going to deliver on flexibility. That was request number 1, on better hours and more frequent service where they're needed. And to accommodate that, it also means some routes are going to change and be serviced through microtransit, especially in the North Valley and in the Southwest where we already use that. It's been very successful. So we're going to continue to shift our bus system into where the users want it. So it's basically it's a reflection of demand for ridership. And so that also means that a lot of routes are going to get faster bus service, meaning at least 30 minutes instead of waiting for an hour. And so also we tried to balance, there's 2 theories when it comes to scheduling. One is that there should be a bus on every street, but to do that, the buses wouldn't come very often. The other one is that buses should have zigzagging routes that match like commuter routes. And of course, if we just did that, then a lot of the city wouldn't be covered by a bus. So this is a hybrid approach to those 2 theories, and it's an update, again, based on data, but also based on lots and lots of community input. So we used Jarrett Walker and Associates to help build this plan. They're a nationally recognized firm that does this all over the world, actually. And we also know that this will match our staff. So phase 1, we are able to implement with current staffing and current budgeting. Future phases, of course, will probably require expansion, and we would expect that, but we're ready to go with phase 1. So this means more service, it means more coverage, it means more frequent buses, and it also means more people served in our transit system. Now, this is also agnostic of free fares. We have free fares, it's a council law, and we're going to continue free fares. Now, I just want to let you know, though, that has nothing to do with the route schedule. So just to be really clear, those are different issues. I think lastly, I would just share that we got this from Albuquerque. We listened to riders, and we listened to people who don't ride but want to ride, and we listened to businesses who need service, and that is how we developed this. And so I want to thank everyone who participated in this very extended process. And to begin to walk us through it, let's start, actually, I think, is Councilor Baca here? Did I see him? Okay. All right, we're going to start actually with our transit director, Leslie Keener. Leslie, come on up. I'm going to borrow some of these, hold on.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you everyone for joining us here today. We're really excited to announce the launch of ABQ RIDE Forward and the phase 1 of the implementation. I just want to thank a few people. I know we've got Tool Design here, our ABQ RIDE Forward Advisory Committee, Strong Towns, Together for Brothers, a lot of community members that were involved in this process that, as Mayor said, has taken several years to accomplish. This plan will make it easier, faster, and more reliable to connect you across the city. At ABQ RIDE, we're here to serve the public with safe, clean, and reliable transportation. And the last few years, we've really been focused on safety and on cleanliness, and these efforts will continue. We will continue to make improvements in these areas. Now, however, we're in the fast lane for improved reliability through ABQ RIDE Forward. ABQ RIDE Forward is a system-wide redesign of our city's bus routes in a way that makes sense for the Albuquerque of today. In addressing improved safety, cleanliness, and reliability, we are delivering a bus system that, as Mayor said, Albuquerque can truly be proud of. Right now, we're averaging about 28 people per vehicle service hour, while we're operating at about only 65% of our 2019 service levels. So what does that mean? It means that our system is extremely productive, even though we aren't operating at maximum capacity. This shows a huge demand in Albuquerque for bus service, which we are now delivering through ABQ RIDE Forward. This will get us back to nearly 100% of our 2019 service levels, while also re-strategizing bus routes for a fast-evolving city. To maintain a relevant, well-used system, we need to understand how people are moving and provide fast, convenient service to them to know ABQ RIDE is a great option for them. So our goal as we roll out more service and smarter bus routes is for people to know that buses are frequent, convenient, reliable, safe, and clean. And if we're not delivering on any of those fronts, when you take a ride with us, we also want to make sure that you know that we have systems in place to help fix it. And you can be an active bystander. So help us report issues in the field so we can fix them immediately. You can use our CSA app, or you can call our customer service at 243-RIDE. Okay, so ABQ RIDE Forward. It is, as Mayor said, a comprehensive long-term project that began in 2022 to redesign our city's bus routes, and it was based on public feedback. It's going to set Albuquerque up for a bright, well-connected future. Our planning team has been working tirelessly on this project for years, and now we're thrilled to share that implementation is no longer years away. It is merely 10 days away. So we've been through several rounds. It was actually 3 phases, and each of these phases included public engagement, which included surveys for public feedback. It included outreach, focus groups, tabling, marketing, and also boots on the ground outreach so that we could understand what Albuquerque truly needs in its bus system. In phase 1 was in 2022. It was a system review. We looked at our existing conditions and we asked what the transit priorities were for the community. 2023, we proposed 2 options for public feedback on balancing different priorities, and that was the ridership versus the coverage concepts. And then in 2024, we proposed a draft network that was based on all the feedback that we had been able to gain over those past 2 years. We did more community outreach, and we ended up with our final network proposal. And then during this year, we have sought the approval process and finalized the plan through the equity analysis with City Council. And now on December 13th, we'll begin with the implementation. And we are very hopeful that by the end of 2029, that we'll have the plan fully implemented. Hopefully sooner if we can continue to have the staffing improvements that we've been seeing here recently. So these changes will entail each phase being strategically designed to ensure that the service changes come online both smoothly and sustainably. So what that means is you'll see increases or decreases in how often the bus arrives. You might see route additions, or you might see some discontinuations to routes. You'll see service on new days of the week, adjustments to the length of route or where it goes. You'll see areas with reduced service that will then be served by on-demand microtransit service, or as many of you know it, ABQ RIDE Connect, instead of our bus routes. And you might also see some different route numbers. And as this all rolls out, we'll be doing our best to make sure that the public is educated, and we do have a website that you'll be able to see all these changes on as well. Ultimately, these changes translate into the transformation of ABQ RIDE into an improved system with more frequent service, more evening and weekend options, and smarter routes that reflect how people get around Albuquerque today. Phase 1 is going to begin on Saturday, December 13th. We have 9 bus routes that will be updated, and that's approximately 10.6% of the entire implementation plan. The implementation plan is expected to be rolled out in about 16 phases. Again, though, as we see staffing improve, we can make changes to expedite that process as well. By rolling the plan out in phases, however, we're ensuring that we're not committing to any promises that we can't keep, because reliability is extremely important to the service that we provide to the community. So as we bring those phases on, we will be ensuring that we have the appropriate staff to be able to meet the needs that are required by the service changes. So ultimately, please go to abqride.com. Each phase has changes that you can take a look through, see what routes will be impacted, and make a change on how you're going to use the system going forward. The 9 routes that are going to be impacted on December 13th are 5, which is Montgomery, Carlisle, and Lomas, the number 8, which is Manal, the number 10, which is North 4th Street, the number 11, which is Lomas, the number 36, which is 12th Street and Rio Grande, the 53, which is Isleta, the 54, which is Bridge Westgate, Central, which is 66, and then 198, which is 98th and Dennis Chavez. This phase is going to bring online 380 vehicle hours per week. We'll be using 12 additional drivers and 3 more 40-foot buses that will be going out with 2 more mechanics on it as well. And the number 10 will now go in, the number 10 North 4th Street will now be coming into the Montano Transit Center, which we're standing in here today. So that'll be a new connection at this station, which is currently served by the 157. So I think ABQ Ride is on its way to something great. Again, we've been on a journey since 2020. We lost ridership, we've had our struggles, we've lost a lot of staff. For the last several years, we've been really focused on rebuilding our community at ABQ Ride. Our organization is being rebuilt. Our service reliability is at reduced levels. We're actually seeing less than 3 hours of missed service per week, which is huge for us. We haven't seen anything that good in the time that I've been here, which is over 3 years. And our staffing levels, we're only at a 32% vacancy rate right now for our MCOs, which is much better than we've been over the past few years. So we're a better, stronger organization, and we are truly ready to accommodate this service to meet the Albuquerque with world-class route maps. So now's a great time to start riding. If you haven't, give us a try. Come back to the bus again. I can truly say that the service will continue to keep getting better and better each time a new phase is launched. We are modernizing how Albuquerque moves with ABQ Ride Forward. Not only are we bringing back better bus service to our city, we're building upon our major improvements in the system, including safety and cleanliness, to now bring you faster moving and more reliable transit system. Commuter buses, park and rides, lots are a trend of the past. We're delivering consistent transit throughout the day that takes the community beyond their work schedules and into more of their lives. And we hope to see you on board soon. Thank you.
Good job. So I do just want to emphasize that, again, when you only do something every 30 years, this is a big deal. And so I also want to make sure and thank all the transit staff who've been a part of this. They've wanted this for a long time, and they really needed sort of the cover from the administration to actually do it and not just say that we should do it next year. And so very excited this is going to be rolling out. Now, we want to hear from a couple of other folks who kind of made this happen. And one is, of course, David Robinson, our ambassador and transit advocate. Come on up.
Thank you very much. Let me raise this a little bit. Find my remarks. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. My name is David Robinson, and I was born here in Albuquerque. There you go. Thank you very much. And matter of fact, I was born at St. Joseph Hospital. Went to school. In the elementary years were at Emmanuel Lutheran High School, junior high. Lived in Missouri. And so I grew up here. But just before high school, my dad's originally from Missouri, so he was kind of tired of brown and wanted green, and he said, "Okay, we're moving." So we moved to Missouri. I went to high school in Joplin, Missouri. I went to college in Kansas City. And obviously, it seems like everybody's aware that now I did play basketball. I was actually a pretty good player in basketball. I got a quick look at the NBA, but then I went overseas and played basketball for 15 years. I was in France for 10 years. And what that did for me is I just kind of changed my whole global perspective about things. I moved back to the States and I moved back to Kansas City in 2010. And I was completely blown away with what Kansas City had done with their downtown and their transit. Downtown, when I was there as an undergrad, was completely vacant, a lot of vacancies and things like that. And so when I come back 20 years later, and everything was night and day, and there was new development of new residential housing, there was repurposing of existing buildings. And then they also, in 2016, set up a trolley car that went directly through the downtown area. And that was a huge thing for Kansas City, and it really changed the development there in the central business district. And that was a huge thing. And I actually saw that happen because I was living there. Yes, there was pushback in the beginning, but moving forward 10 years later, it's a fantastic thing that they've done. And because of my interest in history and Route 66 and ABQ neighborhoods, when I came back to Albuquerque in 22, I wanted to be involved. So I thought about, well, I'll reach out and become a one ABQ ambassador, and that's what I did. I've been to different events throughout the city, and then I went to the mayor's State of the City address, and I ran into Dwayne Baker, who said, I gave him the same spiel that I'm giving you now. I gave to him right there at his booth, and he said, you know what? Smarter mobility, join ABQ RIDE. And so that's what I've done. And as an ABQ RIDE ambassador, I'm trying to help people connect to the transit resources and to better navigate our systems. We're announcing a lot of these changes that are coming. They're going to be new to me. The whole system's new to me. And so this is a learning process, but I want to be in a position that I can do my part and help. The main goal for me as a RIDE ambassador is to help people connect to the transit resources and to better navigate the system and encourage ridership. And make sure that they're aware that this free service, and it is for me being on the bus line or being at the bus stops and things like that. I'm approachable. I'm a fluorescent green. I'm a walking billboard. And so my role as the ambassador again is to be involved. My involvement in the system. I believe that change needs to be made, but a lot of times change needs to be made in the system and not just outside pointing fingers. And so I wanted to be part of the system. And that volunteering entails what I want to do personally is to give back. I love Albuquerque. I love New Mexico. I'm proud to be back, and I like the direction the city's going, so I want to be part of that. What we're doing with the mobile apps, and the ambassador that when I took on this role as an ambassador, then I had to go on with someone who had been there before, and we had to. I live in the Heights, and so there was a certain area I wanted to focus on, especially Central District. And we actually were able to map a route that I would take whenever I rode the path. And so I would go down Central, came back up Lomas, and it was very easy to do. We did that right there on the mobile app. And so that is a huge tool that people need to be aware of and utilize. ABQ RIDE Forward, as been mentioned already, has updated the bus routes and to make the changes, ideally make the changes to help connect to key parts of the town in the ways that make sense and encourage people to ride, like I've mentioned already. Albuquerque has always been an unknown, and it's a hidden gem. But what we need to continue to do is move forward. A very large piece of how we do that is we need to know how we move and we get around and how that can be improved. There are many amazing changes associated with a strong transit system, and if we can encourage more people to use the bus, especially attendance events with bigger attendance, we can reduce the traffic and create parking solutions, attract development near the transit corridors, historic Nob Hill, Windrock Town Center, Uptown, for example, the food court what are happening right now. Obviously, it reduces environmental impact, and it's a great way to connect people. Residential living in the transit centers. Uptown Transit Center is a perfect example. And just being able to provide that connectivity to the people of our city that are locals and people that are tourists. The city is special. The mountains, the balloon fiesta, the tram, green chili. ABQ Ride Forward is steering the transit system in the right direction for future generations. Better transit encourages development, which I feel is an important way to move our city forward. And from the outside, I see all the great things Albuquerque can do, and I want to be part of that moving forward. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. And I think we just wanted to wrap up with a little bit from, let's see. Actually, no, we are ready for Q&A. So, Maddie, why don't you take us away here? Oh, hey, one thing I do just want to share. Again, like, you guys can edit me out of this. We need the riders, we need the city to know about these routes. So I just want to be really clear, like, we're doing a press conference to help get the word out to the public. And so just kind of asking for your help, because routes are going to change, right? People are going to be like, what's happening? So we really do hope that you can sort of do a nice, thorough job and help us get the word out about this. Okay?
Cool, and I also wanted to draw everyone's attention. This is a poster of all of our route changes, so take a good look at that. It outlines everything pretty well. And then I also have handouts that I can also give everyone after, and new system maps for what the system map will look like with the changes starting on December 13th. So we'll take a few questions. Monica?
Hi, yes, so you guys mentioned, the director mentioned that the priorities are safety and cleanliness. But what does that actually look like? We know that, Mayor mentioned city council, they took a ride in the bus and they didn't like what they saw, right? And there's a lot of crime that we know that's happening on the bus. So what does that look like to guarantee that, riding the bus will be safe?
So I'll pass that to Leslie, and I'll just also note that our mission statement is providing the community with safe, clean, and reliable transportation. So that's why you're hearing those resonating themes, but Leslie can speak to that right now.
Yeah, and they're resonating themes, safety, cleanliness, and reliability, because they're extremely important to any transit network that you are a part of, especially important to us here at Albuquerque. And this is what we focus all of our conversations on. The city council ride I think you're referring to was back in 2022. That's before a lot of this stuff had started and the initiatives that we've put in place had begun. We've been working very hard over the last few years to make this a safe network for the public to be able to use, and we were going to continue that effort going forward. We do have the long-range security plan that has been out there. About a year or so ago, we came out with that, and we started migrating over to our APD partners with our transit safety officers, and I think that has been an extremely positive experience for us. So you'll see more of that activity now, and that's why we really ask for people to come back out, give it another try, see what the system's all about. We have a lot of tools. David mentioned the apps. We have the CSA app that does put you in direct connection with our dispatch within transit. So whether it is a safety issue, whether it's a cleanliness issue, whether it's an issue with the bus not showing up or a reliability issue, you can get that direct connection to our transit dispatch, very timely. It's a quick response back. So there's a lot of things that we have been working on with the cleanliness, from repainting bus shelters to replacing shelters that have been worn, to just making sure that our bus stop maintenance crews have been beefed up in staffing levels. It's really important that people are able to enjoy, waiting for the bus as well as being on the bus. And that even goes for the cleanliness issues on the bus. As far as crime, this did come up at City Council on Monday. We had some conversations about the quarterly security report that was released. Crime is down on the bus network. And when we look at the crime, I look at it on a year-over-year basis, from the quarter prior last year, which includes the months of July, August, and September from 24 to 25. And when I look at that, our total calls are flat, but our total calls include both proactive and reactive responses from our safety partners. Those proactive responses are a huge testament to the work that our safety partners are doing. They're out there, they're visible, they're having field briefings, they're present. These are good things that are out there. Those calls are up 20%. Our reactive calls are actually down 47%. So that's a huge thing. And then when I talk about our serious calls, those are the ones that people really care about, right? The ones that can do damage. Those calls are down 27% quarter over quarter from the prior year. So that's a huge testament to the work that our safety partners are doing. And like I said, we're going to continue to ramp up those efforts. The long range plan has us going to 87 total transit safety officers and transit safety sergeants. We're about 20 right now total between those, but we're going to continue to hire, and in fact we're in the process of interviewing next week again for more to bring on. So you'll continue to see those improvements. So they are mobile. I think that's another thing I would like to clear up. We hear a lot of talk about having APD PSAs on buses. That's not the end goal when it comes to our long-range security plan. Our end goal is to have them mobile and in quadrants of the city so that they can respond in a timely fashion. Not only are they responding, but they're also present and actively engaged. They know the community members, and they're out there to make sure that there is safe and we're not experiencing those quality of life issues. If that answers your question.
Let me just add one thing. Fellas, can you come on up? I warned them about this. These are transit safety officers. They didn't exist 18 months ago. So what folks have to understand when she says we're having 20 officers that are now patrolling our buses, these are two of them right here. So we appreciate their work, but we want folks to know, number one, that's new, didn't exist just a couple of years ago. And two, we have 20 now, but we want to have 87. So we're going to keep building up at that. All right, thanks, guys. They're real.
Yeah, you'll see them all around town in their transit safety officer mobile units. They're parked in the parking lot back here. One other stat I wanted to point out that Leslie actually brought to my attention is of last quarter's incidents that were reported in the quarterly security reports, 0.003% were Class A, which is the more serious incidents. So that's about 67 total incidents out of about 1.9 million rides. So it is a good testament to the great work that TSOs are doing.
And if I could with that too, because I just want to make sure that stat's understandable. So that's 67 incidents over that quarter that we reported on. And that's in comparison to about 1.9 million riders, to put it in perspective, right? So that's where she's getting that less than 1% of serious incidents are happening on our buses within the quarter. So I think it's, that's a huge statistic. And of course, as we've talked about safety, we're going to continue to drive that down and to have that presence so people don't have to deal with that on our buses.
Perfect. And Madison, did you have one question as well you wanted to ask? I think she did. Oh, okay. Awesome. Anyone else?
I'll ask one more, sorry.
Okay.
I know last summer we covered the new rides to rules to ride. I just wanted to see if you guys have seen any progress, any comparison with that, just how are those rules getting, are they effective?
Would you like to take that one, Leslie, about the rules to ride and if they're proving to be...
Yeah, could you repeat it? Sorry.
So just, I know last summer we covered the rules to ride, so just kind of wanted to see, about 6 months or I guess over a year later, how are things looking with those rules? Are they effective?
Yeah, so I do think that they are effective, and as you heard me talk then, just because we have zero fares doesn't mean that there's zero rules, and we continue to reinforce that behavior there's a certain level of expected behavior when you're on the buses or even waiting at the stops. And again, that's what our safety partners, APD, transit safety officers, that is their main purpose, is to enforce the rules to ride. And a lot of that just comes in, to let people know, like, you shouldn't have either an open drink, asking them to step off or put it away, and that seems to be pretty effective. We've seen a lot of positive feedback with that, so.
that concludes our Q&A. Thank you all so much for coming, and I do have best implementation change handouts and maps for you. So let me get those out. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, my hands are very frozen. Just like